All right, guys, today in front of me from Bardstown Bourbon Company, we have their Discovery Series number 9. So this is a blended whiskey, comes in at 112.5 proof. So we're going to get into the blends a little bit later. However, I have been a big fan of the last couple releases of the Bardstown Discovery Series. The number 8 was really good. The number 7 was really good. How is the number 9 going to hold up against the 7 and 8? We're about to find out right now, guys. So without further ado, let's go. All right, guys, so as I stated, this one comes in at 112.5 proof. Let's go ahead and get into the details of what's inside this blended whiskey. It starts with a 35% of an 8-year Georgia whiskey. Has a mash bill of 80% corn, 10% wheat, 5% rye, and 5% malted barley. Followed up by 31% of a 12-year Kentucky whiskey. Mash bill on that is 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. Followed up by 19% of a 17-year Tennessee whiskey. Mash bill on that is 84% corn, 8% rye, and 8% malted barley. And finally, a 15% of an Ontario corn whiskey that's aged for 12 years. Definitely excited to get into this guy, guys. Let's go ahead and get in the nose. Yeah, so, I did get into this one a little bit prior to this review. One of the things that really stands out on this one, there's like a ripe kind of banana cream to this one, and then I do pick up a little bit of some rye a little bit further into the glass, further ways where you really start to pick up that sweetness, and it's like a ripe banana cream. There's some red berries that are in there as well. Yeah, it really just reminds me of almost like a banana split on the nose. There's a lot of like sweetness from some vanilla there as well. It's very kind of elegant, but it also smells very rich and savory at the same time. Again, further into the glass, you pick up some of that rye spice. There's like some cinnamon bread maybe in there. Further into the glass, further ways really where you pick up some of that sweetness. Like I said, a lot of that vanilla on the nose, like a ripe banana cream. There's some red berries in there as well, and it just kind of reminds me of like a banana split on the nose. Absolutely beautiful nose. Let's get to the palate, guys. Cheers. The mouthfeel is just absolutely amazing on this. It's very elegant. It coats the palate. It's just so soft and silky across the palate. There's a lot of sweetness up front. Cinnamon, like a burst of cinnamon, kind of hits the center of the palate. Get a very, very slight hint of toffee kind of sweetness that kind of mingles in with that cinnamon. Back of the palate, it's very strange for me because typically I pick up a lot of citrus on the sides of the palate. But I started to pick up almost like a little bit of a burnt orange note. Almost like a burnt sugared orange, like one of those candies that you maybe like burn a little bit. There on the mid to back palate. And then to the back, you pick up this slight hint of like not the bitterness of a dark chocolate. There's definitely some chocolate. It's like an in-between between like a milk chocolate and a dark chocolate. But it's just so silky. The finish lingers on. Medium to long finish. A little bit on that longer side. It just slowly just pulls the flavors down from the mid to back palate all the way through the finish. It just slowly kind of drags on, but just so elegant on the nose. Just very, very soft. That is really good, really good. Let's get into the second sip. Yeah, so even more so after that second sip. Some of that spiciness that was sitting there across the center of the palate, that like burst of cinnamon, kind of dies down, and it just brings forth like all these like candied berries from the palate, still very sweet. It's a really nice like layer of it's like oily kind of vanilla that just kind of flows like all the way through. And then, like I said, the cinnamon and the baking spices are kind of still there on the center of the palate, but that's where I start to pick up like these berries. Again, that burnt, candied, like sugary orange there on the mid to back palate. And then like that, again, there's still like a little bit of like some toffee that's kind of in there with that cinnamon and some of those spices, like a spice cake. And then through the back of the palate and into the finish, it just slowly drags the flavors down through, and it's so good. It's still just a long finish. It just sits there and just coats the back of the palate. It's all in through here. Man, that is so good. I mean, the nose, I was, when I first got into this, I was really hoping the nose, the nose was great. And then I was really hoping that the palate was going to like live up to the nose, and it does completely. This is a beautiful, beautiful blended whiskey right here. Let's get into the last sip, guys. Cheers. Again, just so silky smooth across the palate. And this is something, again, that you can kind of sit with and really enjoy, because these flavors just really start to appear all over the place. I mean, it's crazy. It's like continuously evolving on the palate, but it's not overly complex, where there's so much going on that it's just kind of hard to really enjoy it. But it's just so silky smooth on the front of the palate. Again, it's just this kind of rich, like it's like a vanilla oil, and it coats all the way through. That's like the baseline of the flavor. There's some toffee sweetness, some cinnamon there across the center of the palate, like a spice cake. A lot of different like spices and like berries across the center of the palate. And then like mid to back palate is just this burnt kind of like sugary orange. There's a hint of like, it's almost like an in between of like a milk chocolate and a dark chocolate. That like vanilla like oil that just like flows all the way down like as that baseline flavor. Just very, very elegant and soft on the palate. Outstanding blend here by Bardstown Bourbon Company. All right, guys, so I want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. I do want to send a big shout out to my friend Ron Miles over at Bardstown Bourbon Company for helping me secure one of these bottles. This is a very elegant, delicate pour, but it's just packed with flavor. Beautiful nose, just packed with tons and tons of flavor on this one. Again, as I said, I was really hoping that the palate was going to live up to the nose, and it does. It does offer different flavors, right? Like, so for me, I get this kind of like banana split thing going on the nose, but then on the palate is something completely different. Just all kinds of different flavors, but it's not overly complex. There's a lot of complexity to this one. It's just not overdone. Again, just so silky smooth on the palate. Just the flavors, they're consistent, but it like continuously evolves as well. Outstanding, blend here from Bardstown Bourbon Company. I think they really they really kind of set the bar with this Discovery Series 9. I think this one may be the one to beat. Definitely want to do a blind of the 7, 8, and 9 and see where each one of them stands. So guys, if you're looking for more reviews like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And until next time, guys, stay dusty.